Brooke Hogg, the mental coach, and I want to welcome you to another episode of The Sit Down. Today is extra special because I'm sitting down with two guys that I've known personally since our undergraduate years, and I'm immensely proud of their dedication and hard work that has earned them their coaching roles and many other accomplishments. So without further ado, I would like to introduce Kendrick Crumedy, who is the head coach and athletic director of his alma mater, Jasper High School, and Peter Hopkins, associate head coach and offensive and recruiting coordinator for Humble High School. Welcome, guys.
Hey, how are you?
Good.
Good morning. Thanks for having us. Good morning.
Absolutely. Thank you for sitting down with me to talk mental health and athletes from your individual coach's perspective. So Kendrick, I'll start with you. Take us on a journey from growing up playing sports in Jasper and now being the head coach and athletic director of Jasper High School. Would you say that was a dream, or is that happenstance?
It's God. That's what it is. Surreal feeling. Growing up as a kid in East Texas, people don't like to talk about racism and or race in general. And being an African American kid growing up in East Texas, you never think you're capable of doing some of the things that you see. And I was blessed to have a coach that looked like me as a junior in high school and encouraged me. My uncle was a track coach who was instrumental in me becoming a coach. And it's been really fun. They told me I could do things that other people told me I couldn't, and helped build my confidence and believe in myself to do it. And now I'm sitting in a chair that I thought I would have never been in, and it's been one heck of a ride so far. It's a lot of pressure. Growing up as a kid there, we always strive to be successful and to be great, and there was a lot of pressure on you to get out. That's the term we always use. And a lot of teenage kids go through that same pressure. They're going to be that meal ticket for their family. They're going to be the ones who got out and became successful and brought back to the community. So there was some pressure there, but I'm loving every bit of it.
Awesome. And Peter, I'll ask you the same question. So can you take us on a journey from you playing sports as a young kid to now following in the coaching footsteps of your late grandfather, Coach Andrew Hopkins, who is an East Texas legend?
Yeah, he is. Yeah. That's the reason why I'm here today. And why I do what I do every day. And not only that, just seeing him do the things that he did for my community, coaching for 65 years and coaching me my senior year at the age of 87. Seeing him doing the small things to make sure we had clean clothes every day as athletes is the reason why I check my ego every day, to be there for our kids. And for him to step in my life to be the father figure for me, and not knowing who my father is a way to show kids if I can do it. And if my grandpa can do it for me, I can pay it back forward. I can never pay him for what he did, but I can just continue to, let his legacy live, but also have a love for kids every single day. And, it takes a true village, and sports has changed my life, and I'm very grateful for Coach Robert Murphy giving me this opportunity to be able to pour into his kids every day, because, the Humble is his kids, and that's the biggest thing that we're trying to bring back to this community is the love for the kids. And, we have a slogan that's called Protect the H, and basically protect Humble, protect, with open hearts and love and support for our kids every single day, and let them know they can always come home.
Absolutely. And so, as a young athlete, I'll ask you both this. Do you remember mental health being discussed? Was it something that you heard? Was it something that, your coaches or other adults that may have been influential in your life mentioned?
Not so much for me as a kid growing up in the country, because we were just told to be tough. So boys weren't supposed to show emotion or have feelings or cry or you weren't allowed to be stressed or because we were always told everybody has things going on. So get out your feelings and get into your purpose was kind of the ideal that they forced upon us. And maybe because there wasn't an understanding of how important mental health was. It's a relatively new field within sports anyway. So 15 years ago, no coaches were talking about it. It was you were soft if you couldn't handle it. That's pretty much what you were told. Stop being so soft and figure it out.
What about you?
And just to piggyback off that is I go back to my grandfather. All the way up to the age of 95, he never told me he loved me, but I knew he loved me because growing up in the country, that's all I know is hard work and be tough and be the man in the house and man up and chin up. And as Coach Crumedy said, if you show emotions, you're soft. And that's why so many men walk around today, I think, brokenhearted because they don't have the space and the avenue to vent or to be able to show their emotions. And I knew all my coaches loved me. That's the reason why I'm in this profession, but they never showed that heart. You know what I mean? Because it's football or it's sports. It's, you got to be tough. You know what I mean? This is how you make ends meet for your family and, just, greet it out and continue to go and keep your head down.
And so during your tenure, both of your individual tenure, how have you seen mental health evolve?
Well, when I was working on my master's in sport management at SAM, I started really learning about it, understanding one of the projects we were doing was a mental health analysis, a needs analysis of a high school kid and what goes on in their mind. They talked about the reasons that we see basketball players and they have those nights where they're amazing shooting and they come off the floor. It's like, I feel like I was throwing rocks in the ocean because they were able to channel all that anxiety and nervousness into their play. And I really got interested in it then. And during my tenure coaching, we're starting to see kids, why they can perform, why they can't perform. And a lot of times it's due to stress or they don't know how to properly control their arousal throughout the sports world. They've just never been taught that, or they don't know how to deal with the issues associated with it. Instead of thinking about what play we called or how many steps you're supposed to run before you get the baton, they're thinking about their math test, or they're worried about how they're going to feed mom or help mom pay the bills, or what little sister is doing. So they don't understand that they're actually in high stress situations. They just don't know how to process it. It's so much being thrown at them at once, and they've never been taught how to process it. And now with new technology and new studies, we're able to give them an outlet just to talk. Like you said earlier, when we were kids, we couldn't talk about it. Wouldn't nobody talk to you about it. But just having the training and having the resources available for a kid to come talk to you, hey coach, this is what's going on at home. How can I fix it? Because I'm feeling this way. It's dark, or I feel like I can't sleep, or I can't breathe. The walls are closing in on me. We've been given training and resources to help those kids and help them describe exactly what they're going through and getting out.
Absolutely, and that's good. What about
For me, I was in school at UT Tyler with my master's, and I was in sports psychology. I was 23 years old, first year coaching. Had a kid named Donovan Johnson. I remember going to pick him up from Grambling because he didn't have the necessary academic steps to be at Grambling at the time, and I was coaching at Tyler Junior College. And it still breaks my heart to this day. I only got to spend 2 months with him because of his lifestyle. And I never forget, got a phone call from my athletic director, told me that he just got killed. And I had to make the phone call to his parents because I was the one that recruited the kid. And he told my first year coaching, been around this kid for 2 months. And it still haunts me to this day, what could I have done differently? Because he was saying things that mental health wasn't really relevant at that time, as far as how he was gonna get fed or, where he's gonna sleep at, and he was around some people that he was back home with, comfortable, and, he ended up getting killed by his best friend, over, just simple things of food and different things like that. And then I think about later on in my career, when I was at Lamarck, probably the best training I ever had. It was 3 days, 8 hours, was by bullying. That year we had 3 kids kill themselves over bullying because we didn't give them the avenue to be able to come into us about things. And that same year I remember I had a kid that I coached And I was thankful that he walked to me and said, Coach, I need to leave. And I remember him and I walked to the principal office and he put a 9mm on the desk and I'm going to kill somebody back that keep missing me. And was able to save his life and other people's lives at the same time. So that's when mental health and things of that such became real to me because it was at my door.
Don't press that button. There's still more to come from the sit down. For more content from the sit down and the mental coach Brooke Hogg, follow, like, and subscribe on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube.
What's up, everyone, and welcome back. I'm still here with Coach Crumedy and Coach Hopkins, and we're just going to continue the dialogue. So, coaches, what pressures do you see your youth athletes deal with today in terms of balancing being physically in shape, classroom demands, and then also home and social life?
It's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of pressure to play sports. It's a lot of pressure to be an athlete from high school all the way up to college. You know, speaking about, high school, the first thing we try to work on is the person first. We want to coach the person first and the player second. And coaching the person first is, are they good people? And how can we instill great traits into them and, build character? And then, once we start building good people, that carries into the classroom. Because I believe those small traits of being a great person and a great student is the beginning of winning before you can work on the player. And those are the first traits that we try to dive into first to show them that we care, show them that we love them, because it's pressure. It's a lot of pressure to win on Friday nights. It's a lot of pressure to win on Thursday, on Saturday, because the first thing you're gonna see it is in the newspaper. You're gonna hear it in your community. You're gonna hear it in the community of the school, whether you win, lose, or draw. And that's what we're here for coaches to, make sure that we pick them up when they need to be picked up and make sure we keep them even when they're too high. Just try to keep them at a, even keel, as well as try to also instill, commitment and courage and confidence. That's the biggest thing is keeping them confident, because I'm a big proponent. I think if you're doing really, really well in sports, I think that carries over to doing really, really well in the classroom and into your social life as well.
And I think so much more in the community where I'm at compared to here is that we're like the only show in town. So, and there's no way in Humble your kids have things to do. They can go leave and they can go somewhere else into the city, another suburb. In Jasper, America, there are 6,000 people, and everybody goes to the Walmart and to the Brookshire Brothers, and you're gonna always run into somebody that sees you. So not only you have that pressure of performing because you can't outrun it. Everyone's gonna come see you on Friday night. A high percentage of our kids are economically disadvantaged, and a high percentage of our kids are raised by grandparents, aunts, uncles, sisters, or other. So there's a lot of pressure on them to be successful, to take care of their parents or to take care of themselves. And we're in the age of NIL, and you have parents are talking about, hey, you need to be good at sports so you can buy mama a house. And they have those pressures on top of balancing school, which is the reason that they're there. But their parents aren't pushing school; they're pushing they're being successful in athletics. A parent that asks you, hey, what can I do to help? Well, feed them, make sure they go to sleep, and check their grades. Parents don't want to do that. They want to take them to get extra training, or I'm trying to get him the scholarship so he can do this and do that. So those kids are dealing with issues that a 15, 16, and 17-year-old, a 15, 16, 17-year-old kid shouldn't have to be worried about feeding his family, or feeding mama, or feeding daddy, or buying mama a car, or buying daddy a house. They shouldn't have to worry with those things, but these are the issues that are getting put in their head right now that's creating these unrealistic expectations for them. And it causes them to struggle academically. It causes them to struggle socially. It causes them to struggle athletically because there's so much pressure. Instead of going out there and enjoying playing a game of football or basketball or running track, they're out doing it as a means to an end instead of having fun as a kid. So the stress factor, just the expectations that are put on our kids, and now to be with the beginning of social media, it's everywhere. So everything that you do is recorded or seen or posted. So they're having to create content for social media so they can be recruited and or I want to be in this article. And it's just it's a lot more than we had to go through. And you combine that with being raised by older generation. So if a grandmother or a grandfather don't understand what's happening, the things that you have to do, they don't understand you in order to get that scholarship that you want, that it's a year-round thing. Whereas when we was in school, we played, we worked out and did those things. And in summertime, our workout was picking watermelons and throwing hay bales and wrestling horses and running through the fields. Whereas these kids are coming up and they're training year-round with trainers and position coaches and speed trainers and weightlifting coaches on top of what you're doing with your school. So we're asking these kids to do all these different things and still maintain a high GPA in school and still take care of a little brother or a little sister. Because like I said earlier, a lot of them are living with grandma, but they have siblings that they're taking care of. So you start talking, and to go even further, hypothetically, the kid gets offered a scholarship. Now they're having to look at, okay, where can I go to school at? Because I got to be able to get here to take care of my little sister. If I come to your school, is there a way I can get an off-campus apartment as a freshman? Because I got a little brother that I don't want to leave there because I'm technically coded as homeless. So how am I going to do that instead of concentrating on, hey, you got a scholarship, you did the right thing, you can go to school and get your education. They're worried about how am I going to take care of the rest of my family while doing that. So the pressures put on our kids are sometimes unreal.
You know, to piggyback off of him, since I've been here at Umba, I'm inviting pressure for our kids. You know, because I do feel like there's a thin line that our kids always look for a way out. It's pressure to be a great husband. It's pressure to be a great father. It's pressure to be a great ambassador of this fine institution of Umba High School. It's pressure on Jesus Christ when he walked the earth. You know what I mean? You know, you want to be great. You got to, study, show yourself approved. Much is given, much is required. So you want the specific. You want to be a district champ. You want to go to the playoffs. So what pressure are you putting on yourself and pressure you putting into practice to be perfect? You know, and I tell myself all the time that we're gonna be very, very demanding of what we want, and very, demanding of what our expectations are. But we're not gonna demean the kids. We're not gonna be derogatory with them. As hard as we coach them, as hard as we're gonna love them, because sometimes we have to take that pressure off of them. But we're gonna put pressure on them because when it's 4th and 1, we gotta get this first down. We ain't looking for no timeout. We're looking going straight forward. Extra right now. Absolutely. So we invite those moments and we put them in situations in practice, in the weight room, in summer camps. You know what I mean? Like, we may say we got 10 hundreds and we may run 16 just to see how you fold under pressure and where your breaking point is and where we can take you farther than that, but also know where we can love you at the same time. So it's a thin line, but we definitely I definitely as office coordinator here, I'm inviting pressure every single day because I know how hard it is to live in this world as a black man or as a man in general, and that's something that I definitely invite for our kids to be successful.
Absolutely, and the pressure that, like you mentioned, that you are inviting is nothing to harm them. It's
right.
to, help them to understand, like, it's hard work and dedication that you have to put into this.
Right, absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
Oh, that's good, that's good. And so, Peter, I want to kind of talk with you a little bit about your experience, coming from a collegiate level. And just, I know you've mentioned a little bit just now kind of what you plan to do, but just overall, like, how do you plan to help your high school athletes mentally prepare, like, for that next level for college?
Right. That's a great question. Our motto from, our principal, Mr. Cosby, is next level. So everything we do is preparing them for the next level. We are a Title I school. We are an inner city school of Umba ISD. So everything we want to do is the next level to prepare them, whether it's for the job world or whether it's for for the college world, here, everything is going to be prepared to be at the college level. So the way we meet, every time you come to meetings, you got to have a notebook, be on time, sit up, the way you're in the classroom, what's your academics like? We send out academic progress reports every week just to see where the kids at. Your nutrition is really, really big, and I think that has a lot to do with mental health. Are they eating the right things? Are they eating hot fries and Takis and drinking soda? You know what I mean? So, these kids, all of that goes into being, I call it, we want to treat you as a pro, being professional, because at the college level, it's a job. You know, you are an employee of this school. You know, so here you are an employee of Humboldt ISD, Humboldt High School. So we're gonna treat you like that. We're gonna treat you like a professional. And when things don't go as such, we're gonna call you in. We're gonna have a real meeting, sit down and talk. And then if we have to bring your parents in, we'll do that. If we have to bring a ministry in, whatever we got to do to make sure you're successful to be ready for the next level, that's what we'll do. Because college is hard. You know, and being a college athlete is even harder, you know, because we have the opportunity to send you back home to your mom and daddy, you know what I mean? And that's one of the hardest things to do, you know, call your mom and daddy and say, hey, do y'all still have that room available? Because I'm sending them back. Because when you send him to us, you drop him off for us to raise a man, and we are his parents. If we can't provide that for him anymore because he's insubordinate or he's not following the rules or doing everything he possibly can to be a student athlete, and to be a great ambassador for this football team, because getting a scholarship is hard and keeping it is even harder. We're gonna send you back home, and it's life. You know, I've been fired before, and somebody else gonna get fired. NFL players get fired, but how do you bounce back? You know, and if you can't, we're gonna fire you, and we're gonna find somebody, because it's a whole bunch of people out there want to play college football, and we're gonna find the right person for our program.
Absolutely. Coach Crumedy, do you have anything you want to add to that or any way in?
Well, and a lot of times, like we talk about this pressure of the kids, and a lot of times that pressure is unrealistic because, I mean, I've never coached in college, but I was blessed enough to be at Mammal for 12 years, and we sent probably 125 kids to Division I. And at Jasper now for a 4A Division II program, we have 5 kids on the roster with Division I offers. And I've been a recruiting coordinator, and what I always explain to parents is, look, I wish I had a scholarship in my pocket to give your kid, but I don't. It's not how that works. You have to be elite, and you have to check these boxes. You have to have elite measurables. You have to be big, tall, long arms. You have to have elite athleticism. You have to have elite speed. And if you don't check 2 of those 3 boxes, you can't get your school paid for. So what you're doing, mom, you're 5'1" and dad is 5'3". That kid is going to be a 5'4" kid. He's not going to have elite measurables. And chances are he's not going to have elite speed or elite athleticism. So if you put that pressure on him to go get his school paid for, which he can't, how about you support him being just a successful human being? Use the game of football or basketball or track or whatever you do. Use the tools that you learn from that to be successful in life. The hard work, the determination, the character building, to the trust in your teammates, the fight that you learn from playing, the competitiveness. Use all those tools, the accountability that we try to give you as coaches to be successful in life, because less than 5% of people play college sports. Less than 5. You got 100 kids on your roster. You're going to have 4 or 5 kids that end up getting a scholarship. That's it. Year in, year out. Those are the averages. And some years is way less than that. You can coach at a school for 3 or 4 years and not have a single kid sign. So just because you play sports doesn't mean you're going to get a scholarship. You might work hard and do everything your coach asks of you and still not get a scholarship simply because you don't have those elite measurables or you don't have that elite athleticism or lift speed. So we have to find ways to eliminate those unrealistic expectations. Doesn't mean you can't be a great high school football player. It just means that you're maybe not a college player.
Yeah, absolutely. And it kind of takes me into my next kind of question, and you two already kind of touched on it, but just, you know, how important is it to have a backup plan as an athlete?
I don't necessarily say it's a backup plan. I just think you got to use sport to carry you to where you want to go. And I use this term all the time, that ball's going to go flat eventually. You know, we're talking about LeBron, who's probably who is the greatest athlete right now, or one of the greatest athletes ever. That ball is eventually going to go flat. And he has different, you know, he builds a school, he has different communities that he's pointing to have an afterlife. Because you have to use sports. Because I'm telling you right now, and I tell my athletes all the time, I'm going to use the heck out of you. I'm going to use every ounce, blood, sweat, even broken bones to make sure we can win a football game. So you use me to get your scholarship paid for. You use me to set up your wife. You use me to set up your kids, because sports don't get what they get out of you. Whether, you know, I tell them all the time, are you working out, or are you putting in, are you mastering your craft? Because sometimes you can just go through the motion. You go to Planet Fitness and work out. You're just giving us a workout out here, and you're not actually diving into the details, attention to details to be great. And you have to use sports. I don't say it's a backup plan, because sports can take you places you've never been before, and I've been lucky to be on the college level and coach on the college level, and eating steaks and shrimp and lobsters, and like staying in hotels, 5-star hotels every weekend, and it's just everything is chartered where we don't wait in traffic for anybody. I mean, we take charter flights, everything, and I would never experience it if it wasn't for sports. But I also allow sports to be able to sit here before you, to be able to pour into these kids at Omaha High School, to be able to get a degree from Sam Houston, and be able to get a higher ed degree as well. And you have to use sports, because I'm telling you, we're gonna use you. Even if you not very, very good, we'll find you on special teams or something. You can be a great water boy or something. Mm-hmm. There are some opportunities that sports can grow you. And in today's world, everybody's looking for people who can be a team player, in the workforce.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think you use sports too. And I think it is a backup plan. You use what you learned in sports to be successful in life. Because like you said, that ball's gonna go flat. One day, those knees aren't gonna work the way they used to, and those ankles are gonna fold, and you're just not gonna have the explosiveness or strength you have. And you gotta have okay, what if it doesn't work out my way? Because of course, I'm never gonna tell a kid, hey, stop working hard because you're not gonna be successful in life. But we're gonna be honest with them. Son, you're 5'6", 130 pounds, you run a 5 flat 40, you're probably not going to play on Sundays, but what can you learn? What can you take from what we've taught you to be a good husband, to be a good father, to be a productive member in your society? You have to use sports and use the tools that you were given in sports, that you learned through sports, to be successful in life. I was one of the ones that was lucky enough to have a coach that preached academics. I thought I was going to get my school paid for. I tore my knee week 4, up to an ACL, MCL, lateral meniscus. Week 4 of my senior year, every college that was interested stopped calling, because in 2003, the technology wasn't the same. You weren't recovering from ACL injuries. That was pretty much a death sentence. But I was able to graduate top 10% of my class, and I was able to go to the institution I wanted to go to, because my coaches had pushed education just as much as they had pushed athletics. So they always told me, hey, there's going to be a time where you're not going to be able to play anymore, but what can your brain do? What can you being tough and you being a fighter? How can you translate that to education?
Absolutely. So as coaches, how do you recenter yourselves, like individually, in terms of balancing home and personal life, and then coming in and being 100% in coach mode?
I had a hard time. So I've been married 6 years, and funny story, we almost didn't get married because I love sports so much. We got engaged. She wanted to get married spring break weekend. I was coaching track at the time at Manville, and we had 7 All-Americans. We had the fastest time in the country in the 4x2, the second fastest time in the country in the 4x1, and the fastest time in the country in the 4x4. And we were getting ready to go run at TSU relays, and that was the week she wanted to get married. She was like, well, if we're not getting married that weekend and going on our honeymoon, we're not getting married. And I said, well, we're not getting married. You'll never in your career get a chance to coach 7 All-Americans ever again. And we eventually got married, of course, because he's here. And
right.
and she won, but we ended up going on our honeymoon a little bit later. But before her, I didn't know how to channel, and I didn't know how to turn it off. I didn't know how to turn off being a coach. I didn't know how to, and pledging, you learn about time management. But to me, levels of importance, coaching and those kids were my levels of importance. And I used to always make the joke with them, hey, when y'all graduate, I'm gonna get serious about life. Mm-hmm. And it's funny because I've hired 2 of those kids, I told that, to work for me. And they're like, Coach, you got serious about life. You learn how to manage your time, and you have to set up your hierarchy, and it's always God and your family first. And I think a lot of coaches get burnt out is because they won't put God and their family first. They're gonna put their job first. There are 2 types of coaches in this world, those that have been fired and those who are going to get fired. And if I'm going to get fired for being a good father and a good husband, I want to get fired. I want you to fire me, because you can get anything in this world back. You can't get time back. So I'm a firm believer in being present. During football season, my guys don't work on Saturdays. You go in, and I tell them quick, it's a couple of things that get you fired. Missing your kids' games will get you fired. Missing that presentation, they get you fired. You go spend time with your kids. It's enough of us to get it done. So you have to prioritize what's important to you, and you have to find an out. You got to find a way to cope, because we often get so consumed in winning and coaching and wanting to be around it. You can never get away from it. But you have to be able to go fishing. I know we both like lifting weights. That's one of my outlets. I go lift weights for an hour or two, get away. Or I take him to ride horses or four-wheelers just to get away, put my phone on Do Not Disturb. My wife laughed at me this week because I'm on vacation technically, but I was on a Zoom yesterday and I was registering kids for camps this morning, and I was working on recruiting and budget on Monday. And she's like, well, aren't you on vacation? Yeah, I am, but I got to get it done. And she's like, well, what about you balancing? I was like, you know what? I put my laptop down. I went and put it in the office, and I was like, you know what? I won't touch it no more this week. So you just have to prioritize those things, because there is pressure to win. There's a lot of pressure to win. And when you're talking about feeding your family, if you win games, you're going to be able to feed your family. If you don't win games, you're not. So there has to be that healthy balance. But if you don't be present with your kid and your wife, you're not going to have a family. And at the end of the day, God calls us to be good husbands and good stewards and good fathers. He doesn't care about how many games we've won. So the goal is to work for somebody that truly understands that and believes the way you believe it.
Absolutely, that's good.
I'm just gonna be completely honest. We work 100 hours a week plus. We get burnt out. We can get tired, and when we show up, we don't want to deal with little Johnny today. But guess what? When we get here and little Johnny see us, that's the biggest smile he has, because we are his hero. And we have to muster up the strength every single day to walk through these hallways to be their heroes. We don't get to choose to be a hero. And you know, personally, I pour myself out every single day to my kids, every single day. And I do get burnt out, and I do get tired. But every week I ask myself, and I ask God, let me get back to the church. I just want to be in the house of the Lord, around other believers and other saints, because my faith is huge to me. And that's what fills me up, you know, on top of starting my day sometimes at 4:30 in the morning, going to the gym, and I run, you tell me I'm crazy, I run 3 to 4 miles every day. And that 3 to 4 miles is strictly praise and worship music. That's the way that I'm able to be filled for my kids every single day. Because I have a philosophy, and I tell myself this all the time, I want to coach so well that the angels of heaven stop what they're doing and run and tell our Father, and our Father say, well done, thou good and faithful servant. Because I want to be able to coach with that heart for my kids every single day, and I don't want to lack nothing. Because I want to be able to give everything, because what I saved today, I lost forever, that I could have gave to someone. But to be able to, you know, find my outlet, to be able to get refilled is going to church and going to the gym and getting out of the city and going to the country and just enjoying the stillness of life and peace, you know, from Crockett, Texas. So that's what fills me up, and it's important to have someone to pour back into you, and that's why it's really, really important to be able to go to a church that feeds you, you know what I mean, or be able to get a good word, whether it's a 5-minute snippet or even a 30-second snippet, to be able to just say, okay, I need that. Okay, it's time. It's go time.
Absolutely. That's all good. And so I know you both have individually kind of touched on a little bit of this, but how do you check in with your athletes, like just to ensure that they know that you are a part of their team? I know you've touched on a lot, both of you touched on a lot, you know, just showing up and kind of just making sure that you're 100% self so that you can be there for them. But do you have a system or any type of way that you check in with them just to make sure, hey, I'm here for you, you know, if you need me, or so on and so forth?
I know at Jasper, I go to everything. I try to visit churches of different athletes, and it's such a small community. I go by their jobs, I go by their classes. I try to be always present. I have an open door policy. I never sit with my door closed. They're always welcome to come in there. They all have direct contact with me through email. They can reach out. We have an app called Sports You. They can reach out to me. We're always available, and luckily I know most of their parents. I went to school with them. their parents have my cell phone number. I try to always be available, and it's kind of scary that their parents call me most of the time when it comes to discipline. They'll call me if the kid hasn't came home or if there's an issue, they'll call me. I'm like, I'm the coach. But, well, coach, they look up to you. So, or if they're having problems with them, hey, can you talk to them because they're acting up in class? Well, you're the parent is what I want to say. But, I try to build that genuine relationship with trust. It helped with me going back home because I was one of them. When they introduced me, I was able to walk in that same field house that they work out in and pick up our district championship footballs and show them my name on there and go in the film room and pull out game tape and when we were playing. And when they talk about the neighborhood legends, I was like, well, you don't ever want to be a neighborhood superstar. That means you never left.
Yeah.
But when they talk about those guys, I'm like, yeah, I know them. And they'll go to the barbershops. And they call me by my nickname in the barbershops. So the kids came back and they trusted me because they felt like I was one of their, I'm one of them. Crum, you one of us. Or they'll come out, they'll pop up. And I'm at my dad's house riding horses. And they're out there riding horses because he let them all come out there. And they just trust me. So it helped build our relationship even more. Like I said, because I'm one of them. I wasn't a guy. I wasn't a stranger. I wasn't an outsider. I'm one of them. I'm one of y'all. I came from these same places y'all came from and did the same things. And so, but they know that they can always come in. And like we even take time out of practice just to, we'll start practice. We got a thing. Good morning, coach. Anybody want to talk about something? What's on your mind before and after practice? To let them know you have an outlet, because what happens is a lot of time as men, we hold that anger and that frustration and that emotion in because we're taught that you have to be a manly man. And if you express your feelings, you're not tough. You're not a manly man. So those kids are being taught that. And it gets to the point, like he said, you have kids that kill themselves because they have no outlet to let it out. They have no one to trust that's not going to try to do them any harm once they've let it out.
For me, it's been kind of different. On the college level, I use different taxes. Like we have this thing that's called cost attendance. So we pay our kids every month. They get a check every month, direct deposit. And the quickest way I can get your attention, I'm not going to direct deposit your check. I'm going to give you a hard check. So now come talk to me. Now you got to come see me because they want their money.
Right?
Because if they don't talk, the first thing, yo, coach, where my bread is? Oh, I got to come see me, man. And, we just chop it up. And another thing is, getting on their level, listening to their music. Sometimes they walking in a meeting, or if you picking them up, you play like, coach, what you know about this? What you mean? I'm too old, just and using their lingo, I want all the smoke and all that type of stuff. I ain't dodging nothing. And that opens them up and say, okay, he's a human being. He's more than just coach. I can sit down and have a conversation with him. And another thing is they love snacks. So you have a snack jar or you have a candy jar. They come by and it's just. Even if it's just a good morning, it's a conversation piece. And one of those good mornings, we like, hey, coach, I need to talk. You know what I mean? And if I walk through and I see them, I do hate on my kids. If I see them talking to another girl, I'll be like, I see them talking to somebody else the last period. You know what I mean? Oh, coach, you hate. You know what I mean? But it's just, it's just like locker room talk. We just have a good time and we rag on each other. And you just got to give them their space, and then they got to understand when it's okay. Now it's coach-player situation. So you just got to give them space to know that. Coach is a person too. You know what I mean? And coaches can be cool. So.
Absolutely, and I love all of that. That's great. That's great. And so, when I'm talking to parents, for an example, the number one question I'm always asked is, what recommendations can I offer them to help them check in with their own kids? So, from a coach's perspective, what tips can you guys offer? To parents of young athletes in terms of ensuring that their kids are mentally capable and not just physically capable of playing sports, whether it's football, basketball?
I would say get involved.
Okay.
Get with your nearest booster club in some kind of capacity. Whether it's even on game day, you can only just bring juice or something. Spend as much time as you can. My thing is, I don't think it's family and football and family and sports. I think you got to intertwine all of them together and understand who's really teaching and coaching and pointing to your kid, and even if it's just a check-in with coach, because I've been in a situation where my phone is running at 2 o'clock in the morning and the kid called me and said, coach, I need your help, come get me. They didn't call mom and daddy. But at the end of the day, we got to have a relationship with each other because it takes all of us, and I call it bridge builder. You know, just like how we have, you know, stickers with dads, you know, where dads come up here and put the helmet decal on, you know, before their first game and do those little things and, you know, just be present, you know, as much as you possibly can. And it's, I think it's very, very, very important to know who's coaching your kid and who's teaching your kids in the building, you know, even if it's just say, hey, coach, everything's good. Because he may not, some kids don't like to tell their parents everything. And if you have their relationship with their coaches, you know, you have opportunity to do that.
I think the biggest part is being present. I mean, you can't get that time back, and it just does something when a kid can see and know that you care about them. They're going to feel more comfortable. Like you said, you want to know, you want to be present because you want to know who's coaching your kids. You want to know the type of men and women that are around your kids. But being present is the biggest advice I can give to any parent. Actually be and listen. A lot of times parents want to do all the talking. And I had a mentor tell me, he said, when the kid starts talking, just listen, because you never know what they're going to tell you. He said, just let them talk. Sometimes they just want to get it out. It might be just words, or it might be tears. It might be frustration. Close the door, let them talk, give them a hug, tell them you love them, and you might save his life.
Absolutely.
And piggybacking off of that, you know, and I learned this from him and, you know, various coaches, is that we never let our kids walk off the field without us putting our arm around them and letting them know how much we love them. And we have an open policy of telling our kids we love them. We're not afraid to say, hey, I love you. You know, do you need anything? And the presence is huge, you know, for parents. Because if you're not being present in your kid like somebody else is, then it may be the only person.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So before I end, I have to ask Coach Crumedy, what can we expect from the Jasper Bulldogs this upcoming football season?
Well, the Jasper Bulldogs are going to play hard. We're going to be tough. We're going to do things the right way. I think we have a chance to make some noise. I think we have a chance to play a very long time. We have great kids that play hard and they play games the right way. We return 11 on defense and 8 on offense. We can run. We're strong. We're fast. We're athletic. And we're putting some pieces together. The kids absolutely love being on the field. They love each other. They love being around. I have to run them away from the facility. They've pretty much been everything you could dream of. So I think we have the ability to play for a long time. I think we can play until December. We'll need some things to go right. We're ranked in number 10 preseason in the state. We're in the toughest district in 4A football in the state, according to Dave Campbell's. There are 4 teams in the top 20 in our district. So of those top 20 teams in the state, 4 of them are in our district. So we're going to have a tough road, but I believe our kids can do it because they're tough and they do things the right way.
All right. Coach Hopkins, what's the expectation for the Humble Wildcats this year?
I think this is going to be the hardest task I ever had as a coach. You talk about Humble's been the doormat of this district for a long time. This class, all the way from junior, I haven't made it to the playoffs. And I'm going to go on record and say it can be newspaper clippings or whatever you want to make it. We coming. And we coming now. My kids going to talk the talk. They're going to walk the walk. They're going to be cocky as hell. And we're going to win a lot of football games. And we're going to be tough. We're going to be tough, like really, really tough to beat every single week. And I think we got a great coaching staff to be able to put our kids in position to be successful, to be able to scheme, and also to do the little things where our kids can be successful. So we're bringing a sense of pride back to Humble. Like I said, these kids haven't tasted success, but they will this year. And like I said, I'm thankful for Coach Murphy giving me this opportunity. And he got to calm me down sometimes. I'm not gonna lie, because I tell my kids all the time, we're gonna be really, really, really good. Yeah, we play North Shore. Yeah, we play Tassau City. Yeah, we play Summer Creek. Yeah, we got to see Cade in the playoffs. That don't mean nothing to me. Like, my kids gonna see it through me, through the way we prepare every single week, every single day, how to be great. And I expect us to be in the playoffs this year. We haven't been in 6 or 7 years. I expect us to be in the playoffs this year. And that's the expectation. And when you come see Humble, you're gonna see some bullies on the field. You're gonna see some bullies at the Beltway. And we're gonna play with that mindset every single week.
Bullies of the Beltway, I like it. So you want all the smoke?
All the smoke. I ain't dodging none. You can put it on every newspaper clip you want to. I ain't dodging.
All right. Well, thank y'all so much for taking time out of your hectic schedules to sit down with me today. And I wish y'all nothing but an abundance of blessings. I definitely will try my best to, try to catch a game here or there. But again, thank y'all so much, and I truly appreciate both of y'all.
Thanks for having
And
us.
thank you for having us.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah.
What's up, everyone? It's Brooke Hogg, the mental coach, and I want to thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Sit Down today. I personally want to thank Coach Crumedy and Coach Hopkins again, and I want to encourage you to like, follow, share, and subscribe to my social media handles that are listed on the screen. And until next time, I want you to remember to take care of your mental health.